Eric, I'm the Director of Marketing here at Infoscale, which powers SOS Online Backup and FileLocker. I am joined by our Product Manager, Derek Wood.
Hello, everybody.
We're going to take you through a quick overview of Infoscale, a quick introduction of what this company is and why we've decided to rebrand the company as Infoscale. We'll talk about what FileLocker is and how you can sell it. So there are three main ways that you can sell FileLocker, and we'll review all of them with you, and then we'll take you through a quick demo of the product. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get going. So many of you have probably heard of SOS Online Backup in the past. We have transformed into Infoscale. We're still the same team. We're still the same company. SOS Online Backup is still alive and well, and FileLocker is simply a new addition to our family of brands and products. And because we've added this product, it will allow us, as well as our partners, to attack different areas of the IT marketplace. So not only will our partners be able to sell online backup now, but they'll also be able to sell cloud collaboration. And that is what this webinar is going to be all about.
So with Infoscale, of course, SOS Online Backup, as many startups, is the product name, and that was our company name. So Infoscale has a new general direction that we're taking, where it's scalability of your infrastructure through simple and easy to use and deploy software technology. So that's going to include, right now, like Shaylin said, our backup product, our sync product, FileLocker, and soon to be Enterprise Protect. So look for more great things to come from Infoscale and our suite of services, and that's just really exciting change that we've had. Still the same, small startup mentality. We move fast, we develop fast, and we go out and we disrupt the market. So that's what we've done here. So with FileLocker, what is it all about? Let's start off with first asking who's familiar with other sync services like Dropbox, Box, Ignite, SugarSync, things of that nature. Like how well versed are you all in these types of services? And as that comes in, what we're addressing with FileLocker is the need for a business level solution of these collaboration services. So as any product lifecycle goes, it's first year early adopters, those people who don't have a lot of risk to move into software, those who like being on the leading edge, typically individual users who are adopting these services. And online backup had that phase in the early and mid 2000s, so 2005, 2006, rather early adoption, and we had always focused on business, so we actually saw much greater growth in 2009 to 2011 when businesses started to adopt, and now today when it's all about business adoption. And that's because of our focus on the security that businesses require. So in the early adoption phase, you don't need to have high security because the people adopting it don't have any security concerns. It's all about the flexibility and productive use of this type of a service. So all of the collaboration services that have come to date have been awesome because they've really collapsed the technology adoption life cycle from what backup was almost a full decade. With online collaboration 3 years ago, hardly anyone knew about it. Today, almost everyone uses it, and it's noted as the 2013 problem to solve for CIOs all over the United States and the world. The impact of this is you have an unmanaged cloud of data that's a business asset. That's what security is about. It's about maintaining the assets of your business, and that requires control over the access to that information or the hardware or whatever is considered an asset to your business. So with big data and data being an asset, you have to have a top-down management and control over that. The grassroots adoption of these unproven as far as the security of it, and actually proven to be quite unsecure. Non-secure, insecure?
Non-secure.
Non-secure.
Yeah.
So we have all sorts of instances where both Dropbox and Box and all these other sync items have been like outlandishly not security minded. It's just not a focus. And it's because of a grassroots adoption model. SOS was the first product to introduce a client-side encryption to server encryption procedures. So end-to-end encryption before transfer, during transfer, and at storage. We're now the first ones to do that in collaboration software as well, with businesses in mind. So we solved the issue, which if you look at any 2013 CIO wish list or IT trends list from Steve Wozniak to anyone writing on Information Week, there is always number 3 or 4 on the list, the adoption of collaboration services that give you a hybrid cloud, something that's secure because you can have it on site, and we'll get into the selling model for that, as well as something that's flexible, available in the cloud. And FileLocker really hits the nail on the head when it comes to meeting that goal for 2013. So we're really excited about it here. We've just launched and we're already getting tremendous traction in the medium business and enterprise market. I think even more traction than we expected this early on. So we're very excited to see what's coming through.
So FileLocker is a cloud collaboration solution, and of course, as Derek mentioned, its key feature is that it can be deployed within a private cloud, inside a network, inside a firewall, and of course, it includes all of the collaboration features that you've come to know and love from other free file sharing services out there, as well as many more, particularly in the administrative control section. So we will take you through a demo of what exactly FileLocker does and some of its primary features and functions later on at the end. But we do want to let you know that one of the major differentiators is security and also the administrative controls. So if you have a customer who needs audit trail reporting and a complete reporting history on what maybe all of their users within FileLocker have done, you can do that with FileLocker. So why do you want to be the one selling the solution? Number one reason is unmatched security. So CIOs, CTOs, CSOs care greatly about the collaboration solution because you're always moving information around, right? You're moving it back and forth, you're moving it inside and outside of the organization, and maybe sometimes you don't want that at all. Maybe sometimes you just want to keep the information within the organization. And of course, no matter where it's going, you want it to be encrypted and secure. So FileLocker does encrypt locally, in transit, and at rest in the data center. The number two reason you want to be the one selling FileLocker is its cost. It's extremely cost effective. The MSRP is $5 per user per month, and all these users get unlimited storage.
Unlimited storage.
Unlimited storage. It's a major differentiator. Number three is that it's channel ready. So there are 3 ways that you can sell FileLocker. You can sell it through a referral program based on our online backup dashboard. You can sell it private or public cloud, so simply by user, and you can bundle those users however you want. And finally, again, the pricing. It's very cost effective for you. If you want to get started in the referral program, there is no cost to get started, and you simply collect a revenue share. The only cost to get started is starting with an online backup program.
Right, and another reason to sell this is because everyone in the market is saying that this is going to be the biggest item. So even Steve Wozniak, who just 6-7 months ago wrote an entire piece about how the cloud is evil and it's terrible and no one's going to move to it, has flip-flopped and said as number 3 trend for the next couple of years is the adoption of such a system like this. And that's very exciting. So when you have all the buzz and the trends going this way, and based on the traction we've made, it's not just buzz. It's happening. We put out a small marketing campaign actually, and the feedback we've gotten is much greater than we expected. So from our experience alone, we're seeing the demand, and we're enabling you guys to get in on that piece of the pie.
So if you've been to the FileLocker website, this graphic might look familiar to you. It's used to illustrate the end-to-end encryption that FileLocker uses. So if you're familiar with the SOS Online Backup product from our security-minded engineers, you'll be familiar with this mode of encryption. So first, before anything leaves your computer or your customer's computer, that file and folder is encrypted with 256-bit AES encryption. It's then transferred through a 256-bit SSL tunnel, and finally encrypted again at 256-bit AES encryption. So we encrypt it 3 times. So by the time it finally ends up in the data center, it's completely undecipherable to anyone. Even if someone, let's say we were subpoenaed and drives were needed to be accessed, they would be completely undecipherable.
Right. So there'd be an officer at your door. There's nothing they can do to force us to give access to the information. So it's all based on you, and that's the goal. Basically, what this means is we're the only company in the world who has a HIPAA-compliant sync tool. There is no other HIPAA-compliant sync tool.
Yep.
And
yeah, end of story.
So, okay.
What are the 3 ways that you can get ready to sell FileLocker? Number 1 is private cloud referrals. So this is available in our online backup dashboard. So if you're also interested in selling online backup, this is a great way to get started. 0 initial investment for selling FileLocker alone. Send customers to your unique free URL, and they'll get cookied for 180 days. When they start their free account, then there will be a nice, big, green, shiny upgrade button within their account to help them know that, hey, it's time to upgrade so I can get additional features. There will also be blockades, I guess, triggers throughout the use of the free FileLocker application, such as they can only upload files 25 megabytes. When you upgrade the program and begin paying for the solution, then you can actually upgrade files up to 2 gigabytes. That's just one example. There are many others to be found within the free FileLocker application. So FileLocker does handle the transaction, and then we remit 20% of those upgrade revenues to you on a quarterly basis. The private cloud and public cloud wholesale models are very similar. So if you want to host, or your customer wants to host FileLocker behind their own firewall in their own network, maybe on-premise or maybe in a specific data center, you can do that with FileLocker. Also, you can purchase FileLocker on a wholesale basis and host it in our cloud. If you're not interested in getting in the business of hosting, but you definitely want to sell on a per-user basis, you can do that and just let us know. There's a great deal of opportunity in the wholesale model that isn't available in the referral model. Number 1 is an uncapped margin opportunity. So you may purchase this from us at $3.50 per user per month or $4 per user per month in the case of public cloud. And you can manage the billing relationship and charge whatever you want. You can, of course, collect recurring revenue for the life of the customer and use any data center you choose, or use FileLocker secure data centers. You can control the retail price, and the initial investment is $750 per month, which, depending on the package you choose, gives you approximately 200 users. So don't think about this in terms of your initial downstream customers. Think about it in terms of a viral component. So maybe you have 10 businesses presently that you serve for maybe online backup or maybe antivirus or another product. They also have probably 10 people that they work with outside of their organizations. So don't just limit your thinking about the opportunity of FileLocker to the employees within a specific business. It really goes far beyond that.
Right. So to Sam's question, he's asking about the ability to sync from a Windows server in logged off mode, server 2008. So that's essentially what we're doing with the private cloud deployment. So when you have a private cloud, it basically just means on-site. And this is a per-company sale. This isn't something that you would host. And we expect not too many partners to actually want to maintain their own data center. Really, the commonality is just customers want to have control of the hardware that their data is sitting on. It's an asset thing. It's a control thing. Sometimes it even comes to a compliance item. And the $750 a month is so absurdly low for what we're doing here. This would be considered almost enterprise-like feature sets. If you look at the enterprise offering that any of the competing sync-type services have, their pricing actually goes up, $35 per user per month from the $15, which is the standard offer for any user to sign up. But if you want the enterprise, $35 per user per month. Their average sale in that type of a deployment is $500,000 a year. We're not getting anywhere close to that, and we're giving you a more secure version. And that still doesn't, and that offer still doesn't include a server on site that is your hardware that is deployed on. So this is something where the referral is great, like Shaylin said, this recurring revenue stream that you really just market through social mediums, leave behind, things of that nature. And then you have the wholesale model where you buy a private per company deployment to sell out. And up to 100 users or so. But this is something that even a firm of 5 people would be interested in. It's not really so much about the number of users as it is about the difference in security of having that on-site versus in our cloud.
So how can you start selling FileLocker immediately? By becoming an SOS 360-degree partner program partner, and there are many entry points. All you need is your dashboard. Once you have your dashboard, in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little tile that says FileLocker. Then all you need to do is simply click on that, get started, and obtain your free account link. So that free account link will look something like filelocker.com/partner/1234567. And then that number is your number.
So let's just bring it up here. So here's the SOS Online Backup dashboard. So you come in here, and if you're a partner with us, you're familiar with this. Gives you all sorts of good stats. And then you have your FileLocker segment. And this is just for the referral program. So here's the link here. We'll paste a new URL. And this is how you get people to sign up. So you just post this all over your Twitter account, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you want. Get people to sign up through it. It's free to start. They get 5 users, 5 gigs per user. So it's a company account. So the person who signs up will be the administrator for that company. And then they get to upgrade. So you get 20%. It's $5 per user. So that's $1 that you get per user. So think about how many users you have downstream of all your businesses. So all of your businesses would allow you to really make this a nice recurring model without having any money out of pocket, and it's just as a leave behind. Basically, anyone who's interested in FileLocker, anyone who works with other people with files. So if you've ever sent a file via email, this service is for you.
Yep.
You've been doing it wrong. If you're still sending at the end of this day, if you're still sending email attachments, you're doing it wrong. Make your life a lot easier. Sign up for the account. It's very simple, very affordable, the most affordable in the market, and the most secure. So it's really a kind of a no-brainer.
Yep, absolutely. So if you go back to this process and how you can get started, all you need is your free account link. Just send it to your customers however you like, in email, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, on your website. Just get people signed up. And from there, they'll begin to upgrade based on other features that they want and need, such as administrative controls and being able to upload larger files, being able to transfer larger files, etc. They will upgrade. So what are the plans they can upgrade to? The entry-level plan is 6 to 10 users, which is $50 per month. That breaks down to $5 per user per month for up to 10 users, all the way up to 50 users. So if you have businesses that may have more than 50 employees in them, you may want to sell to businesses that are much larger than that. A private cloud or public cloud wholesale model is probably for you. There's also a great deal of flexibility available in the billing arrangement and the bundling and packaging of software. So again, these are the plans that can be upgraded for free without your involvement inside the FileLocker web application. But if you want to sell plans that are different than this, definitely consider private or public cloud wholesale. That's where the customization occurs.
Right. We're definitely, and this has a number of users, but even if you have a 5-man shop, you want to upgrade to a paid account for the additional storage, so you're limited at 5 gigs per user. You also don't have the admin reporting, so the controls that is a top-down adoption of a new file management system. So it's a really nice system, and the value is not around the number of users. It's about the additional features, as well as really you want people to have this on site. Most businesses, if they're paying attention, should not be using something that's not on their hardware. We've even had a firm locally here with a 10-man engineering firm, and we gave them the rundown of what we just gave you all, and they immediately said, we're in. We don't care how many users it comes with. The private deployment comes up to 100 users. That's not really the concern. That's not the sale. The concern is it on our hardware, and is it secure? And it's really been pretty terrific. So we want to open up for a discussion. What's going on with what you're thinking right now? Do you have any profiles that you'd like to discuss? Do you have any customers, any concerns? Also, can we get a raise of hands? How many of you have SharePoint deployed, or SharePoint servers deployed with your customers? Who's a SharePoint reseller?
One person? Okay. So a big advantage between FileLocker over SharePoint is not only its encryption. SharePoint doesn't actually come with any internal encryption, but it's much easier to deploy. Over time, SharePoint's become a little bit overbuilt, and FileLocker aims to simplify that while increasing security.
And we're coming up with and it doesn't have to replace it, it's definitely complementary. So a lot of people, the reason they want to keep SharePoint is because they have control over the hardware, and they want to make sure that control is still there. They went through a lot of issue with legal, the board or whoever it was to get that in place, and it's in place and they want to keep it. That's fine. We don't want them to get rid of it. And we're actually in the middle of building out a really nice connector between SharePoint and FileLocker as well.
So Di, or Dee, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm a marketing company in New Zealand that shares files with about 200 customers. Well, thank you so much for staying up to attend our webinar, first of all.
Well, good morning, right? What is it for you? It's 9 in the morning? 8 a.m.
Oh, okay. I thought it was much later for you. Sorry about that. You share files with about 200 customers. This would be ideal for you, especially because of the deployment model. You would be able to deploy the software within New Zealand and keep everything within New Zealand.
Yeah, let's take a look at, I think it's time to kind of go through it.
I think it's demo time.
All right, let's show you how this becomes really nice for you. So let me log out of Shaylin's account here. And I'll log in with, oh great, secure. Okay, so we got this account, and we're going to show you a couple different ways, because what's really nice about this system is it's not just limited to an internal tool like you have with, I'm having some.
Sorry, we've been having some Chrome problems today.
Chrome problems. So here's our demo account. One of the things is collaboration isn't just an internal need. It's not just internal teams that are collaborating. It's also your customers. I'm also, as well as our product manager, I'm also our project manager for special projects and integrations. So when I'm dealing with outside project teams, and we have a lot of stakeholders, I centralize all the data that we're working together with FileLocker, with this system. So what I do is I create a folder, and I in the cloud as well as locally, and I sync that folder. So anytime I add new files or I change files, those files are sent to the central location. I invite to collaborate other users. So I say, okay, here's an account. You invite the person. If they don't have an account, it lets them sign up, and then they can start collaborating with you. When they collaborate, I get this whole activity feed of who's been doing what. So if somebody makes a change to a document, say we're working on a statement of work, or for D, marketing, you do a lot of mock-ups, I'm sure. You got to get that design approval. When you're going through creative, getting your content approval. This makes that system very simple. Rather than having to dig through emails. I still, to this day, probably spend a good half hour to hour of my time every day digging through emails to find attachments that people have sent me, and then when we get in a meeting, it's very frustrating because it's like, okay, what version of the attachment do you have? What version do you have? With this, everyone uses the same central repository, which is the FileLocker cloud. So that becomes the medium. You make an in-cloud edit, so like history events. Let me move. Sorry, I'm going to meeting feature. So let's say I have this Excel document. Right now it says modified 1 day ago by you. For some reason let's do this, risk registry. So I have data at risk registry, I put it in the cloud, and then I get an update that I even made a modification. I can actually, from my activity feed, say, okay, well I want to edit this sheet again. So I can launch it here, edit it in the cloud, or open a new window is more preferable. That's what I do. I can do this from my iPad as well. It's very nice. With other systems out there, it's actually kind of a weird little thing. What they do is you have to install a local client that is basically just going to hold a temporary file, and then it just has a little checksum that changes for bit level changes against the cloud. But you still have to install something. I didn't install anything. This is all web-based, and I can start editing this document right now. So this is a risk registry, so we're just going through, what are we going to do? So theft, prevention, locked doors, okay, mediation, install tracking system, install tracking software / hardware. Great, so I made this change. So I go ahead and I just hit save. And now if I go back to FileLocker, it's going to have a history of this change being made. So here I go, modified 10 seconds ago, great. So if I want to come to this, so everyone collaborating on this folder is going to get this notification. So you can do that very simply. I can view the history, so I have full audit control. So it's my document, I'm the owner of it. I can say, you know what, I really don't like the change that was just made. Let's go back, I'm going to make this the most current. That way everyone's on par. So statement of works, mock-ups. I use it with Shaylin and her team all the time for when we do creative changes or copy changes. It's worlds apart from what we used to do. We have 5 people who work on this presentation that we just went through with you today, and working on it through email would just be maddening because you send it to the whole group, ask for some comments and copy, and by the time everyone gets back to you, they've edited a version that was no longer current.
And it really can eliminate the need for some meetings, like even like 15, 20-minute huddles to talk about making changes like that. Yeah. You just don't need them anymore.
It's really terrific. And then for you marketing as well, you're also receiving a lot of files, right? Don't you have an issue when people are trying to send you large source files? So, some high-res, EPS or AI files. Sometimes those are hard to send via email, and sometimes the email server will bounce it out because it says, hey, this is kind of weird, we don't want it. So as an admin tool, you can create what's called incoming folder. And if any of you come up with a better name for this, absolutely, it's a nightmare. So if any of you can come up with a better name for the incoming folder, please let me know because we cannot figure out a nice name for this feature.
I'm apparently not creative enough to figure it out because I really can't. I mean, incoming folder truly is descriptive for what it is. You're creating a URL and saying, hey, here's immediate access to this folder. It's much easier than FTP. And go put stuff in it. So like Dee, I used to work at an ad agency, and I definitely feel your pain. One of the ways that we would try to transfer large amounts of data was with an FTP. Then I'd have to get our web developers involved, and it was just a mess. We just wouldn't have to do this here. I was in charge of media planning and buying, and I was constantly receiving large SWIFT files and PNG files for ads. Huge. So incoming folders would have been the ideal way to do it. I wish I could go back in time and change it.
Right. So what I'm doing right now, keep the name, I like it. Okay, great.
Cool.
So press admin. So I'm going to make you a recipient. Do you say you have someone in your team, like an assistant or someone who's actually, when they get a file, it's their job to then take it and go do something with it. They need to go do some design or creative. So you can choose a recipient in your organization, or you can make it yourself, or you choose a recipient and then you can keep yourself as the admin notified. So anytime somebody uploads a file, you'll get a notification as well. So instead of saying email us back this huge attachment, what you do is you create this and we say, okay, where do you want the file to go? I can create a new folder and say, let's do D marketing again. Create folder. Great. And now we're going to choose this folder, D marketing, as the destination. So I say, okay, great. Continue. And we have different options, so we can give, default, which is most common, or detailed. So if we show a preview of what it's going to look like, it's going to be a small form. They put their name, their email address, the subject, any reference number. So if they have an order or something like that, you can do that. And then instructions. And then they can add a file. So we say, you know what, we like this detailed preview. So we say continue, and now it's here. So if I go to this URL, to use this URL, you don't have to be logged in at all. So you can be a complete outsider. It's this simple. It just looks like this web page. And you saw the option earlier where you could actually embed this into your website if you like, if you wanted to make it look a little prettier, or you could just use this. It's really your choice. But you put name, so Derek. You put your email address, so we know who to get back to on it. So there's subject line, whatever you want to do, test upload. Reference ID, so webinar. It keeps putting me back up there. Webinar, let's say the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
And then message. My thumb keeps hitting the, the trackpad. I've gotten to the bottom of it. Message, take this file and show people how to use the incoming folder. Okay, add files, then it opens up Windows Explorer for the person, and they can choose, whatever they like. So they, let's say question log. I'll open this up. You can choose multiple files. If you have multiple things they're going to be sending you, and you hit upload, and that's it. It's done. Then, me as a user and anyone else who's collaborating on that folder. So if I go to my file structure, and I hear here's demarketing. Okay, it's updated 1 second ago. There's one file in it. I can invite a collaborator in here. So I can just, I can choose from the organization, so the enterprise that I'm working with. So if I'll choose myself. And I can give access to viewing or editing. Editing is mostly what you're going to do with collaborating. You can just share the file and people can download stuff. That's fine. When you add collaboration means people are going to be able to in-cloud edit this file, to be able to comment on the file, and you'll get notified with any of those actions. So it's a really nice system, and you can even make sure if it's someone who's new to say, I expect you to take these files and do stuff to them. They're pretty descriptive. So I invite collaborator. Great. So here's my collaboration account. So let's log me out of here, and I'll sign into my personal account. And I'm in a different enterprise, so this is a separate in-between enterprises option. What is going on? There we go. So now I get a pending invitation. Oh, look, you got an invite to collaborate in demarketing folder. Okay, great. I guess I'll check what that's all about. Instructions. I expect you to take these files and do stuff to them. So, sure, I'll accept that. And now in my file structure, I now have access to this real text file. So it was uploaded ago by Derek. So that is, again, that information came from that form. And I can comment on it. And this is for the collaborator, not for the person who uploaded the file. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Add comment. And anyone who's collaborating will get notified that there's this new comment to this file. Or I could just say, like I did before, I could in-cloud edit, I could download the file, do whatever I like. So you see some of the items we have little people on it. It means I'm collaborating with people in this folder. And if I'm collaborating with people in this folder, then down here on the left, it's going to tell me who I'm collaborating with. So here's the demo admin person. And I mouse over and it gives me their email address. So that's a really nice thing to be able to do. Also, you see that there's shared in big green. So sharing means I just create a share. I can create a secure share, so password protected. And I can password protect this share with whatever I want. Or I can just send this link as I like. And what's really nice is, say I want to send this link, and I type an email in here, and it emails the person. I actually get notified that the person's downloaded it. So say you're working with a contract with somebody, or you send a mock-up to somebody. You don't have to get a read receipt in your email, which people just check off anyways. This actually lets you know that somebody actually downloaded that file. So you don't have to check in with them to see if they've changed it. You can check in with them because you know they haven't. So that's really nice. So I can send in an email recipient, and then they'll get a link, an email with a link like this. And then this is completely open, so I don't have to be logged in to use this either. So I can download, share, or make comment, or can see comments or add a comment. So it's a really nice collaborative system. Already we've gone through a ton of different scenarios where we're receiving information from a complete outsider to the system. They don't have an account at all, to actually working internally with it with a collaboration role, whereas I have complete complete access to comment and change and modify whatever has been given to me. So it's a really nice system, and it's really a terrific offer. So what we have here now is some desktop sync. The desktop option is nice because with any tool, you're trying to limit the amount of steps it takes to get things done. That's essentially the definition of usability. Remove the steps, and in doing so, you make things more intuitive. You know, fewer steps, fewer issues to get confused. And those of you who, all of you run businesses, you understand that. From an order coming in to an order being responded to or support ticketing, you understand that inherently. So how do we make this really nice from a desktop perspective? I don't want my users to have to, create a file and then go upload it to the cloud just to use this new tool that adds additional steps. So where it may save some steps in some things like not sending an email, but it also adds some, so it kind of neutralizes itself. Well, with this system, there's complete desktop integration, and looks like I don't have it installed on this machine anymore. So I can't see, but what you would have is you right-click files or folders, and then you get the FileLocker option. Here it is. And you can set this to sync or to sync and share. Show sync status or sync options. So if I go to sync options, let me pull up my other screen. So the UI for the client is relatively, there's not a learning curve because it's basically just Windows Explorer. Let me find where this thing popped out.
So you might have noticed this, but there isn't a specific sync folder. You surely can create one, but you can't actually sync any folder that's in your system, which is a pretty unique feature as well. You can also protect these with what we call ultra-safe before sending them to the cloud. So that's one of the features that lends to HIPAA compliance.
Right. So here's the small bit of UI that we do have for the client, for the desktop client, and that's because, again, it's built to be integrated in with the Windows Explorer view. So we saw the right-click options there. So sync folders, I see the different folders I have. I can add things through here, but for the most part, you're not really going to come into this view. Like maybe if you want to see the status, but for the most part, you just say, okay, let's say image files. So I go to FileLocker. Now it's just a right-click, and I can sync and share. Or the one thing that you do have to do through the client is an ultra-safe sync. So if I set up an ultra-safe sync, and so you can't see that part of my desktop, then this is the HIPAA compliant. This is the end-to-end encryption. And this means that, again, the password is never sent to our system. So we create a passcode from the information you're going to enter here, from the passphrase, and then we hash it. And so we're only sending the hashed version of a modified passphrase that you're setting here. So the server is never actually receiving the original passphrase that's going to give access to this information. And so this is helpful for an individual to sync very sensitive data. So your CFO with healthcare information for the clients or for payroll information, that's typically not something that somebody's going to want to share out with the world, but they want it synced and they want it secured. So you can do that here. And I can say, I also want this auto-published on my other computers. So if you're using multiple machines, this is helpful as well. And then you set this up, and then you get a completely different icon view. So when we set a file to sync in this system, so let's say FileLocker sync, we would get an actual lock on this item here as well as in the cloud. Other browser. So if I go back to my account where I'm logged in, here we have secure sync. It's just a folder name I made, and you see a big lock on it. That means it's the ultra safe. And that removes the ability to in-cloud edit items, so you'd have to have the passphrase in order to download that information. But it will sync across multiple machines. I think that from a use case, we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, I think
deployment, maybe?
I was thinking maybe a little bit more enterprise.
A little more enterprise.
A little bit more admin controls.
A little more admin controls. All right, well, let's get into our admin account then. So the big thing is, how do you deploy this? what's that all about? You have 500 users. How do you create accounts for all these people? Well, we have a real simple way of doing that with LDAP integration. So I don't know what's going on with Chrome.
Now, I had this problem with some other sites. So sorry about this, guys. Hopefully you all have rebooted your Chrome today.
Okay, here we go. So admin functionality. So I can create reports. Basically, the report is going to give you a summary of actions in total across your entire enterprise and outsiders, so if there's downloads as well. So it gives you either everything and across your whole browser, and then down to an individual file person's usage. So if you're identifying that somebody is really using it to the point where you're getting curious as to why they're using it so much, you can go in and make sure that they're not abusing the system and using it for something else. I got a question for Patrick. Why are you not using IE or Firefox? Well, personally, I uninstall Internet Explorer as a principle. As a matter of principle, I uninstall IE as soon as I get a machine. And we want it to be used on the two most common browsers in the world, which today are Chrome and Firefox. And also, for compatibility for drag and drop, you need to have drag and drop doesn't work in Internet Explorer. It only works in Firefox and Chrome. And that's a really nice, easy way of a one-time upload. It's not a sync, but it's a one-time upload. We use Silverlight for the upload engine and then for ultra-safe upload, we use a Java-based application. So you can actually, not only are we the only company, this is kind of exciting, we're going to release this in the next week or so. We're already the only collaboration software in the world that has a ultra-safe, what we call ultra-safe, which means HIPAA-compliant sync. We're taking another step before anyone can catch up. We're going to be the only company in the world that has a web-only ultra-safe option. So it's still the same security, but you don't need to install a client, which means we're now crossing into multi-platform support, basically anything that can run a browser and use Java. So that's really nice. So enterprise stuff. So LDAP configuration. Yep, I mean pretty basic stuff for those of you who have Active Directory and would set this up, and that's going to go ahead and get this done. So that's really nice. Also, when you have users that you delete, rather than your users using some system that you don't manage and then they leave with a ton of company data, you delete a user because of turnover, whatever the case is, and all their files are moved into the administrator's file structure. So they don't get taken with the user and they don't get lost because the user's gone. So it's really a nice system there. You can set different items. So if you want company logo, a lot of times it's nice to enforce a top-down adoption of a service because your company name's on it. So each company will be able to set their company name and upload a logo, which right now we've uploaded this generic your company image. And it's just a nice way of enforcing use of it. Also, you get a subdomain. So you put your company name, when you sign up, you get a company name here. So right now it's Press Demo, but we also use Infrascale for our internal account. You could use D-Marketing or Patrick's Locker, whatever you want to do when you sign up, you can determine what the subdomain will be. The catch-all is secure.filelocker.com. You can set privacy notifications and you can force file retention policy. So with collaboration and sync software, it's about active data that's being engaged by people. This is not an archiving nor a backup service. You use SOS Online Backup for those functions. This is if we're working together on stuff, keep it up here. So you can have a retention policy where you remove from the cloud, not from your local machines. So sync, if you remove a file from a folder that you're collaborating with, the collaborators who are syncing down that folder to their desktops, that file is going to be removed. What this does is it just says, you know what, this file hasn't been modified in 90 days, so we're going to go ahead and oust it from the server. There's no reason to keep that up to date. That's why typically it's a completely different use case again from backup. Backup, if you're putting everything up in the cloud and it keeps staying archived and available for a rainy day. This service is for active data. And you can force that on individual users. Because your individual users, if you don't enforce this, they can set their own retention policy. And right now we have that open to our internal users where they can just keep files up there. It depends. If it's in our cloud, you get unlimited storage. So the only thing you risk by not having a retention policy is a bloat of your file structure. If you are hosting it on site, maybe it's more important to manage this because it's now your local, it's the storage you're managing. So it's not unlimited, it's based on how many drives you're going to plug into the system. So maybe you want to keep that under control for that reason. And you have all these tools for managing what plugins people have. So we use Zoho for the in-cloud editing. So if you don't want your users to in-cloud edit stuff for whatever reason, you could say, you know what, you're just not going to be able to do that. It's just not an option. And that's pretty much what we got. We got an FTP connector for those of you who want to add an FTP server.
So I guess now would be a really good time to talk about any specific cases you guys might want to use FileLocker for. What are your businesses like that you want to serve with FileLocker? And can we answer any very specific case-oriented questions for you? Hopefully we've shown you a good deal of what you want to see about the product and how to get started selling it. Okay, if there are no follow-up questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up. We'll still hang out for about, oh, we got a question from Dee. My particular use would be backup plus file collaboration.
Perfect.
Great, awesome.
So we got both products for you. So get SOS Online Backup, and you install that, and you select your backup set, take those files off-site on a regular basis. And then for your active file use, you have FileLocker. So a great use case where one of our partners, because we actually released this as a beta to our partners last fall, and one of our partners was collaborating with files in the cloud, and this is a perfect example of why sync is not backup. And he deleted the file from the cloud here. Well, what it also did is it removed it from the folder down. So collaborators who have access to this will no longer have access. Are you sure you wish to delete? It gives you a nice little warning so you know what you're doing. But he paid no attention to it, hit delete, and realized, oh my God, it just removed it from all of his machines that he was syncing on. So he used SOS to go back and recover the file. So it was a beautiful use case, accidental, that we had where both systems should be in place, and it's really nice.
Patrick has a client that's a medical group that shares files with many clients. This is going to be absolutely ideal for them. They're going to love UltraSafe, and they're going to love the encryption levels.
Right, so the files they want to collaborate with, they can password protect, and then the files that have to fall under HIPAA compliance, there's the UltraSafe sync option.
And we also offer upload and use of more than 100 file types. So I'm sure whatever record processing or maybe scan file types they're using, I'm sure it will work with FileLocker.
Yeah, and that would be a great one to have it on site as well, because they really want to make sure that they're maintaining that information. So Patrick, if you need to get on the phone call and get this guy set up with an account, you have someone reach out to you?
How many people on the line know who their partner specialist is? If you don't, we'll definitely make sure that you have somebody that can answer all of your questions that you have after this webinar.
Yeah, and if you go to our website, FileLocker.com, we have some detail about what's going on in here, so you can learn more, get started again. You can give us a ring, so 866-479-7182.
Patrick, you're going to talk to your customers today about this. Fantastic. Just let us know. Give us a call if you have any specific questions that they may come up with during your meeting about them, or you want to help prepare for it.
Yeah, and if you want to sign up for your own site, it's free. Everyone starts off free, so just come to the FileLocker sign-up page, put in your information, and then to get all those options, it's starts off at $50 a month, and and that gives you the ability to have up to 10 full collaborators, and that's terrific. David asked, will this be available as a saved presentation for viewing later? Absolutely, great question. So let's go to our website. Where are we posting the webinars for FileLocker?
There is a webinars link in the footer of the FileLocker page, so this will be there. You'll also receive an email with a link to it.
Oh, there we go. So FileLocker is at the bottom left here. And latest webinars. So we actually put it up. So if you want to hear me or Shaylin or CEO Ken Shaw, we post up all the webinars right here. Sam asked, do help with closing the sale. We're all about making that money. So give us a call and we'll have somebody reach out to you and make sure that your pitch is accurate and make sure that we can get in contact. So that means our sales reps are more than happy to conference in with you and talk directly with your prospect, or just kind of coach you on a product and make sure that you can make the sale. Your choice. We're all about enabling our partners to succeed. Thumbs up. All right, so great. So Dee, Patrick, Sam, we look forward to hearing from you. David, you came in late. Great to have a call with somebody. And feel free to call in at any time. Otherwise, we'll have our specialist get out to you.
Thank you guys very much for attending. We appreciate it. Take care.